Hey everyone, and welcome back to Episode Club. Today we are going to be talking Season 5, Episode 9, The Dance of the Dragons. And joining me today, as always, is Johnny B. Crazy, aka Johnny B. Baelish. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fantabulous, Sasa. Just look into my dead eyes and know that I'm so excited to be here. No, I'm having a fantastic time. How are you, Sasa? I'm glad to be talking about Jon Snow. We'll be talking about him this week on a live stream, so it'll be very fun. Also got some stuff coming up, the Maester conspiracy on the secrets of the Citadel, so that should be really interesting. Check it out. I'm getting famous. Just kidding.
Nice.
Anyways, Johnny B. Baelish may get famous. Other than that, this bald spot's not going anywhere fast.
Yeah, I'm doing pretty well. It is kind of deja vu for me now this time, because I talked about this specific episode on the podcast, The Drinks and Nose Things, aka Know and Drink on Twitter. They and them and I discussed this episode, just like Johnny had discussed Kill the Boy on their channel. Go check those out if you haven't already. I'll put it in. It's been a busy few days for us, and tomorrow we'll be talking Mother's Mercy live with all of you. So, yeah, we're gonna go do like we have been doing this past few episodes with going in by character / location. And we'll start by talking about Jon coming back from Hardhome with the wildlings.
Well, you got the standoff with old beady eyes. They're all just standing there. To Alistair Thorne's credit, he lets them through, right? I mean, he never forsake the watch in his eyes. What he did when he kills Jon later, he feels is necessary for the safety of the realm. Even if you disagree with it, that's where he's coming from. I don't agree with it. I want to punch him in the face. But 1-1. We got 1-1. He's here. The lone giant. Although we know we got many white giants, so got to look out for that come season 8. Um, what'd you think about this spot? Jon 1-1 standing alone, kind of just staring down the entire wall.
It it's kind of like a really great visual for us to kind of see, and then obviously compare it come the season 7 finale, and we really just get to see how resilient, even though Alistair Thorne hates this so much. He's just like, because we already know that what's coming next episode. Anyway, so he's just like, hey, let this young lord have as much fun, I guess, as you could say, before I kill him. Coming soon, so
Well, I mean, and Jon gets in, right? Um, and it's a complete disappointment. It basically considers it almost a failure. But Jon points out every one of the people he doesn't. I mean, Sam points out every one of the people he doesn't fail. Old, faithful Sam.
yeah,
It's kind of funny. They're both pessimistic, but they're both optimistic when the other one needs them to be.
yeah. It's like it was a failure, and he said you didn't fail him or her or them, and you you see how like Sam is just kind of more or less he's the good in every situation. Um, and Jon just kind of like, like I tried, but I didn't succeed. I didn't bring everybody there. And Sam's almost just like, well, it's impossible to make sure that every single person is safe in a sense. And yeah, Sam and Jon are back together. Obviously, Jon doesn't know what has happened with Mace Raymond, but
Hashtag jam.
hashtag Jim. Or what was the other one? It was hash. It was like hashtag son to son as well. It's
Son. Sam Snow. No, it's kind of to your point there. Sam is optimistic about John. Everything about John, he's optimistic. He admires John, looks up to him as a bigger brother, and this is kind of, or an older brother. This is where we get some of the theories that Sam is actually Aegon, right? Not, the real Aegon. There's some theories out there. I think even Septuagint Secrets points that out. Now, in the show, don't know. But Randall Tarley did talk to him like he wasn't really his son and couldn't stand him. And Sam did like to play the harp when he was young and was very bookish. So you could go that route, but
it's a little
maybe not.
Hey.
Secret Targaryens every damn where.
Yeah. Everybody is a Targaryen. You're a Targaryen. You're a Targaryen. You're a Targaryen. Yeah. But yeah, Jon's now back at the wall, ready to face Alistair Thorne again. So as we continue on our journey south, we go and see Dennis and the 20 good men that Ramsay only needed to light a pretty decent fire.
Stannis defeated by fire, right? And Melisandre's just like, well, why didn't I see this in the flames? What the hell's going on? I'm not right about everything? Oh, no.
Yeah. I think it was Luke who said it. He's like, hey, that's my party trick. She just, her and her fire. It's just like, yeah, that's like her thing. And to have fire used against her is just like blasphemy almost. And yeah, the 20 good men is just
Stannis' first thing, who is watched? They're either asleep or they're traitors. Hang them, question them, then hang them. So, you're not gonna, and even in the books even says, they don't love me. I have to rule them through fear. And any loss in a battle, I'll lose them. Doesn't matter how small, because he's ruling through fear. At least he knows that. Here, like, he even makes this decision after he knows he's ruling through fear. I don't know what he can expect. People are going to start leaving. Then, let's burn Shireen. That'll bring everyone together, right? Let's see a child burn. That's what brings people together, really.
Yeah. Let me really solidify my army right before I'm about to go attack Winterfell. Yeah, and why not? Let's just burn my only child that's living. Like, yeah, sure. But before kind of that, Davos is like, we have to go back to Castle Black. It's the only way we can survive the rest of the winter.
Well, he wants to win Jon over too.
Yeah.
But it's really just him sending him away, saying, "Burn Shireen, the bastard."
Yeah, and he's like, no, but he sends Davos to Castle Black, and yeah, well, we see obviously what happens then. So yeah, because I feel like Davos really would have like done anything to save Shireen.
Well, and also this so heartbreaking because Mathos, his son that died, had always pushed Davos to learn to read, and Shireen finally had taught him to read. And it's just, makes me want to cry thinking about it. Ooh. But he knows something's up, but had he known anything of that nature, guaranteed he would have tried to get Shireen out of there like Gendry, and this is why Stannis sends him away, because he knows Davos would do the right thing, and then Stannis wouldn't even be able to punish him for doing the right thing. I saved your daughter, my king. Stannis, you can see it on his face how tough this is making this decision.
You dropped literally 2 seconds.
Oh, sorry. You can see how tough this decision is on Stannis, but he shouldn't even be making this decision in the first place. But he's been contemplating. It's not like he's just, I'm going to do it. He feels like this is his only hope or last chance
Mhm.
of gaining what's rightfully his instead of just trying to survive at the wall for the winter. All his troops die, all that stuff. So,
Yeah.
would Shireen have survived? Maybe. It's a big maybe if she would have lived, you know, because they only could have went back to the wall, and they can only support so many people. You already have the wildlings there.
Yeah.
It's hard to know.
Yeah, it's a really kind of tough question as well because at the wall, uh, there is, like we've said quite a few times now, there's the rapers and the murderers at the wall, and for even just as we saw in the last episode, Gilly being the only woman at the wall. Imagine like what would happen with if a princess was at the wall, even if she's not necessarily the princess in line or directly in line right now for the throne. Imagine if that, like, if she was there. So that's probably, and the queen mother or the queen infant or the queen to be uh, was there by themselves or was just a handful of guards. Stannis probably wouldn't like that. Um, so that's probably also partly why the decision of the family to stay with him is there as well. Um,
Well, too, the book, The Dance of the Dragons, was what Shireen was talking about, and it's the Targaryens in a bitter civil war between two siblings over a kingship. I mean, it perfectly portrays Stannis and Renly very well, except for the dragon part, right? But it ended up almost in the end of all the dragons, and you can say here, the end of House Baratheon. You know, would Gendry even want to take that name at this point?
yeah,
How could he feel like his father ever really loved him?
yeah,
He doesn't know who his mother is, so who's to say he would take the name Baratheon? I mean, it seems likely, but I could see a scenario where he doesn't as well. And,
I
it's just
yeah.
really bittersweet right here.
I feel like for Gendry, the show may set him up to do that if he is to be a survivor. That they will set him up with a Baratheon, so we kind of have like a last Baratheon there. Um, and John will probably name him like give him the lordship of Lord Gendry Baratheon or something like that. Um, but yeah, this scene is utterly like heartbreaking once we realize what happens the next scene. Um, with Stannis. Uh, but this is where Davos gives the stag to Shireen as well. And she's like, "Will you make me another one?" And he's like, "Yes, I will." Um, and it's just so sad. But yeah, to your point though, with the Dance of the Dragons, it's very much almost like basically what the Baratheons have been doing for the last like this entire story arc up until pretty much this point, um, I guess, or around this point in a sense. Um,
Yeah, for sure. And then after this, we see Stannis's kind of final moments with her too, right?
mhm,
And that's tough because you see her. She doesn't even know what her father needs help with, and she'll do anything to help. And she basically begs him to let her help him.
mhm,
And he concedes. And I think maybe this is a sign from his red god in his eyes that is, even his daughter is kind of almost giving him consent, even not knowing what it is.
mhm.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, it's just the
And
actor portrayal here by both parts is very, very, very good. You can tell that Stannis has lost a piece of himself along the way. This is that has to be the result of the Shadow Baby in a sense, and the fact that he's willing to go that far. But the Shadow Baby had to deplete at his what would you call it? Had to deplete his soul somewhat.
Yeah, like especially if we have this idea like brought up in, I think it was the last episode club live stream that we had about um do the shadow babies feed Mel's soul, and do they give her more life, um which is entirely possible, and that's maybe why people like Stannis, because Stannis is like the only person that we know of in the show that's alive that's given her a shadow baby. So maybe a piece of his soul is kind of like taken away, or not like a soul essentially, but um, or
Yeah, and I mean, that's it's brought up a lot in the books. Even Kyburn talks about the essence of a person staying after they're gone. It gives an example of a woman sitting in a seat, and when she leaves, you'll still be able to smell her there. And part of her essence is still there. Uh, uh, and it goes into that. We have the children of the forest living on through the birds. So there's some type of consciousness after death. What it is and what form it takes in this universe, I don't know. Doesn't seem as though ghosts are real, right? Don't really see ghosts running around. What a lot of times seems to be ghosts is either a shadow baby or the children of the forest or Bran trying to talk or possibly Blood Raven trying to talk. But we do know that the essence of beings from the past are everywhere, dispersed throughout this whole world. So, don't you love? I'm on a philosophical journey today. Should have heard the BSG podcast.
oh,
I
I
just went
can't
on a
wait.
crazy rant.
Can't wait to hear that one. But yeah, it's with this show and with this story, we really get to see these different religions and how people view different things. And yeah, we don't really see ghosts. Like the mention of ghosts or ghost-like things is Harrenhal, the ghosts of Harrenhal and stuff, but that's about it.
Yeah, and in the books, Arya is able to debunk everything. The wind flows through these stones like this, or the way this is built, like soaks up the sound. And she it's kind of funny because she's taught so well by Syrio Farrell. Wish we would get more on this in the show, but in the book, she pretty much figures out everything. The only thing that is mysterious and is like a ghost to her is Jack and Hagar. He even appears as almost one of the trees, is blending in as one of the trees when he approaches her and when she's practicing in the God's Wood.
Funny.
Anyways, yeah, more tangents.
Okay.
I won't say much about the Shireen burning.
Yeah, like
I'll let you talk about it. I'll just go ahead and say it was awful. Celeste, did what was right afterward and killed herself. But no jokes aside, I mean, at least she felt something. I hate for her to commit suicide because that's always an awful thing, but her only child that ever survived that she gave birth to, she just sacrificed or let be sacrificed. I would say her father and Mel more so did it, but she was very complicit in this. I do not condone the fact that she committed suicide. I feel like she went out. She should have stood up a little more for her actions, but I guess what else is she to do? Wait and starve after Stannis gets killed? I don't know. It does bring to the point of the guilt, and it adds more to Stannis' shoulders, even though he doesn't have to carry this long. And death almost seems like a relief to him, which would have been. Seems like, what if Brienne let him live? We saw his off-scene death, right?
mm-hmm.
And it'd almost be more of a punishment to let him live somehow, but I doubt it.
Yeah, the
But
actor's been in much other things.
yeah, I doubt it, but
by
I
now
hate
they
those
would have brought him back.
off-camera deaths, man.
Yeah, like by now they probably would have brought him back in if he was still alive.
Thing is, though, like at that point, death is almost a present for him, So it's not that satisfying when it happens.
Yeah.
To me, wanting to suffer a little bit more for what he'd done to that baby girl.
Yeah, his little girl, and obviously with this march to the funeral pyre, or the funeral pyre, I guess you could call it, and she's just you feel this like intense emotion that when she's being burnt alive, because I believe when this was being filmed that the actress was 15, or it was like around that age, because this is 2014 and I think she's just a few years younger than me. So her parents were there on set when this had happened. I remember reading when preparing for when I did this a couple months ago, and yeah, like that's just probably like the most freakish thing to like kind of not watch, but to just understand that that's happening to your child, even though it's not really their child. But yeah, it's just intense, and you can see Celeste like immediately once it starts happening, like the fire building up. She immediately kind of just is like, we're doing the right thing, and then she cracks and she becomes the mother again, the mother who loves her child. And to watch your child kind of suffer when they're a baby, getting grayscale and surviving through pretty harsh conditions, to then thrive for quite a while, to then just be sacrificed, is just you can see how in the next episode, once it's revealed that she's hung herself, why she did it. She feels guilty. Maybe that's her way of giving herself her own murder charge, like, and being her own judge, jury, and executioner in a sense. Um, and yeah, maybe it's that for the reason why that's happened.
I
But
guess, but she didn't even give herself to the Red God, right?
no,
So she ultimately lost faith there too at the end.
yeah.
So she lost everything. Mm. On a lighter note, the best plot line ever, I think we'll talk about Dorn.
Yeah, we'll jump down to Dorn and
Go down to the warm places. I got friends in low places, and they are weird.
so we have Marcella,
Father, daughter.
Marcella and Jamie and Ilaria and Duran, basically talking about Tommen ordering Marcella home and what the next steps are.
Well, I mean, we have, of course, Jamie just kind of soaking in the fact that he gets to see one of his children, one of the good ones, and yeah, Braun's still in trouble for hitting Tristane. Now, I'll get to that in just as well. We'll go ahead and talk about that. Jamie talks about, oh, it was under my orders. Go ahead and punish me. Well, we can't be hitting you now. Can't upset Tywin. Uh, Not Tywin. Can't upset Cersei or my king. Doran is really by the book here. And Bronn gets brought forth a little bit later, right? But here he talks about sending Tristane and Marcella back, right? Uh, Tristane will be a ward. And how could he deny his king? And it's not really a bad deal. I don't think they would hurt him. Just Ilaria is kind of stepping over her bounds here. Really.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, every other lord in the Seven Kingdoms would have killed her by now for all the disrespect she's thrown at him. That's he kind of. I don't like what happened, but he was asking for it the whole time, man.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, this scene. It's one of the ones that is just like, oh, why do we have to sit here and watch this? Because the plot is just so badly like executed. Um, but Prince Duran's just like, yeah, what we'll have Tristane stay in King's Landing, and they will have their engagement to secure the alliance with Dorne once again. And Jamie's like, sure, but this is, yeah, it I don't know, like Alara just bugs me. And this plotline just bugs me. Um, the next scene we get is
No
Braun.
wonder you can't stand because you have no spine. I mean, it's just come on. She pours the wine. Earlier, she already
Oh yeah,
slapped him in the
to
face
King.
a few times, basically.
Yeah, like cheers to King Tom and first of his name and like all the rest of the titles, and they all cheers, but she pours her cup on the floor. It's like Tyrion would probably be like, going, "No, that's."
And also, it's not just that. Tristan's going to be on the small council, too. He's not just going to be a ward or a hostage up there.
Yeah,
So she's definitely just, all she cares about is Oberyn. She's blinded by love at this point. And yeah, it's annoying.
yeah, she's just pissed off, and we see Bronn being, oh, these two first doing the slap you silly. Okay.
Slap fight. Yeah, this has massive foreshadowing for later. Because as a white, she's gonna slap a few people or maybe even slap Cersei, right? No, who's the most beautiful woman in the world? You are, blah, blah, blah. Whatever. Brian gets up and, well, Tristane will be a leader one day, so he needs to learn fair judgment. I'd say it's pretty fair. He gets a nice little bow to the face. I think he probably chipped one of Braun's teeth, so that's fine. Maybe he won't sing for a little bit. Not to say anything about Jerome's fun singing. I was just joking.
No.
This is the only real strike we get to see Ario Hota ever make against anyone.
Yeah.
Damn, what a waste of an awesome person.
No.
But I think it's funny. Bron gets to have some soup. Tristane revels in it a little bit, but he's not too much of a douchebag about it. That was fair, right? A lot of times you get your hand cut at death to hit a lord.
Especially a prince, too.
Yeah. So I'd say, yeah, kind of sucked he had to die so soon. I think he could have had a little role to play in the Game of Thrones. It would have been more interesting for it to play out a little more. I understand that would have spread out some plot lines just a little bit, but you could have made it a little harder to kill them.
I know. Like, you could have had at least 1 or 2 episodes more with this plot line and kind of see Tristane and Marcella kind of be together, I guess. And see Cersei's reaction almost to Tristane and Marcella being together. Like, that would have been cool, and then something happened to her instead. But obviously that's not how this plays.
Yeah, they could have poisoned Marcella and made it look like Tristane had something to do with it. Tristane gets locked up in King's Landing, then Dorne gets pulled into the fight that way. And Dorne Martell gets to be in Ario Hota, and then they have a misunderstanding, and then there's a backstab. That I don't know. They played a little bit. They went a little simplistic with it, is all I mean.
Yeah, our fan fiction just right now would have been so much better, but it's okay. So now we will go see Arya in Bravos, who is watching the
Go.
the guy with the insurance on the ships.
Say 15% or less with the Thin Man. Um, yeah, oysters, clams, and cockles, as they say. And little lewd comment from a guy, but um, she spots a Mirren Trent. She got to go fishing now. We get to see the great Mace Tyrell, who just tries his best
Lord
to
Elf.
swoon. How did you say it? Oh, did I freeze?
You said swoon.
Oh my goodness, that was me. Where was I at?
You just said Mace Tyrell and his swooning.
Uh, Mace Tyrell and him
Oh,
trying to swoon Titus Astorius. Is that it? Whatever. And he doesn't have any. I don't drink wine. I don't do this. I don't do that. I mean, the face he makes while he's singing is spot on hilarious. But Arya has her sights on a target. And, well, Arya Stark of Winterfell has come out to play. You know, she even lost to Jaqen, and he knows it. You know, he knows it. Um, but this is all part of the game. I think all kinds of people have to go through this. It's not easy to shed your skin. We don't know everything the acolytes go through the House of Black and White. Maybe a lot of them are let go out into the world to figure out, you know, what they need to become after their training. You know, they're chosen for a reason, mainly because they're alone, isolated, and possibly could be used to an advantage, and they're different from all of their family members. Black sheep, possibly cast out. You know, the blackfish, you know, would be someone that might be a candidate, possibly back in the day, or whatever. You know, something like that. That's why I think Arya was picked. Stature, house status, her persona, personality. Because I feel like the faceless men have eyes and little birds everywhere, just like everyone else does. No, the faceless men aren't everywhere, but I guarantee you they have little birds. They have informers, just like Arya would bring back information to Jaqen, and she wasn't a faceless man yet. So you got to have those out there, I think. And I'm just ranting and raving as we go on, but we see her following him later, like 3 feet behind them with the damn thing, which kind of bugs me a little bit. You got to hide a little better than that. But Mirren Trent apparently is just not a good Kingsguard at all. And
horrible human being.
Like, and not even as a human being, like he's just not good at his job. And here, even his men are like, "Oh, too young, too young." We don't even have to show any of this, but just leave it right there. People know what happens, and this guy is a sick freak. But the actor who plays him, poor guy, he hated this. He hates this so bad. He has kids, and this is. Oh, he said he would never do anything like this again, and it was so hard for him to do. Just shout out if you see him. He's a really nice guy.
Don't throw things at him. Just say, "I'm sorry that you had to do that," instead. But yeah, it's a difficult scene to watch because he's just like being. Well, we knew that he kind of was creepy because of the stuff that he did with Sansa, but to know that he's this creepy, it just pushes you over the edge of the ick factor. And yeah, it's just like, ugh. Even like the people around are like, what? But Arya is able to still get away, which is just awesome. Because Meryn Trent is on her list. So, but she gets to check him off next episode, aka tomorrow night. And yeah, it's just Meryn Trent, just go away, just die already. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of it. Except for you also have a little bit more Mace. He's trying to make an arrangement with the Bank of Bravos. It's underlying in the background, but it's a big deal. Mirren Trent is the focus point, and Arya's storyline is kind of the focus point. But in the big story, the Spanker Bravos is big, as you see later. Is there any more of this that we need to talk? Oh, well, I mean, Arya lying to Jack, and we kind of talked about that. Telling the thin man wasn't hungry today. Perhaps that is why a man is thin. I thought that was pretty hilarious.
Yeah, when she's learning to lie again.
He can tell too. I don't know why she thinks she can get away with lying when she hasn't been able to before.
Yeah, just Arya. You need to practice your lying, girl.
It's all part of the lesson
So,
to make her lie better later. But yeah, we go to the fabled, lovely Marine, and everybody's either favorite or most hated character, Danny, which I really like Danny. So I'm kind of in the rare category of I think she's okay. She's a good character. I don't put her up on a pedestal, but I don't hate her like a lot of people do.
Yeah. Hey.
But Zoe Kravitz, we have your favorite person, Dario. He's talking about the little person always wins because speed beats strength. Well, we've seen that kind of doesn't happen sometimes. The Mountain and the Viper. It just depends on the damn fighter, honestly. It's hard to tell by just looking at two people and saying, hey, that person's going to win. I'd have to see them fight first. Doesn't matter what size they are. Go ahead, let's talk a little bit more about this scene.
Tyrion is even just like, I just don't enjoy killing in my leisure time. And his daughter's like, this is part of the history of the great city of Marine, and continues.
Yeah, we like watching people get killed, but we don't bet on it.
Yeah. And Tyrion is like, my father would have liked you, which is kind of funny. But yeah, Dany has to watch the fighting go on. And again, she sees Jorah be one of the men that has to fight.
Khaleesi.
Sorry, with the dishes in the background.
Khaleesi. The dishes. I will do the dishes for you, my Khaleesi.
And yeah, Dany just sees Jorah, and pretty much this is where we see the final big reveal of the Sons of the Harpy. So, talk about how...
Yeah, I'll freaking talk about it. Freaking back. Danny's finally giving in to the culture of the people. Maybe too little too late. And this right here jades her, right? Because she finally gives in, and then what does she get for it? She gets slapped in the face for giving in to something. And this is going to make her not want to do it in the future. You can't really blame her, but you see what happens with Danny. You see how she's set up here to go back and forth on these decisions. It's a learning process for her. Jolted into this. She was jolted into it the same way John is. She just has more power to deal with right now. And yeah, Jorah comes out and fights. She's like, oh no, not again. But she doesn't want to see him get killed when he almost gets killed. So that kind of starts to change her perspective. And then what the hell's Jorah doing? Throws damn spear. Son of the Harpies behind you. Where the hell was Dario? Go ahead. I'll stop ranting for a second. Then we get Drogon.
Yeah. The Sons of the Harpy are out in full forces. And this is why we have extra security in arenas around the world, including what happens in the future. But partly this is why.
How'd they get past security with them giant spears?
I know, right? And yeah, it's Dany watching Jorah have to be killed, or almost be killed. Sorry, not be killed, almost be killed. And it's strange how they systematically put Shireen's death, and then they put right next to it this sequence. So people who are literally stunned by Shireen and Shireen being killed have to now watch more people be killed. So it's just like, what? Like, I
Well,
know.
Drogon did burn a child alive.
Hmm.
Oh man, we're gonna make people mad. But it seems to sometimes be backed up for a reason. Um, and this could be maybe foreshadowing for Dany burning people alive in the future, like the Tarleys. That might be all the people she burns alive. We have yet to see. Okay, but that is a good point you make, so. Just don't want you to get yelled at in the comments. Too bad for
No.
it.
I think the people that follow us know like a lot of
uh,
that is, but
coolest thing about this scene though is Drogon coming out of that fireball, right?
mm-hmm.
Pretty sweet. Even
And
though that's not really how it works, but
because
whatever.
with the Sons of the Harpy, the
Drogon's like, I'm gonna look cool.
kill.
And everybody, Danny did not bring Drogon in through warging. He smelled the blood. Uh,
Yeah.
that's implicitly stated in the books. And in all of the lore, like dragons are drawn to the smell of blood.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, could he have sensed his mother was in danger? I don't know. Uh,
He could have
more
sensed it.
maybe, but more than likely it's the blood.
Yeah, like
Not saying
Danny.
that Danny doesn't have a mental bond with Drogon, but it's not like that. I don't think.
It
They're
does.
not going to just show this happened because of all the blood. Um,
Yeah.
and basically, dragons are kind of drawn to war, but it depends how close Drogon was.
Mm-hmm.
You can still say that is his mother, and I'm not going to really argue with you if you say that uh, it was both. You got to say there's a combination there. Without all the blood,
Mm-hmm.
Drogon would have never came because Danny could have got killed. There was danger afoot, and Drogon wasn't there. So if it was just danger to protect Danny, then he would have been there sooner. It was after all the bloodshed had happened before Drogon showed up. So that's just
Yeah, a
there's just
lot of
something
people
key.
had, yeah, like a lot of people were killed before this happened, and uh, it. This is one of this scene and her with the whip and her um, exchanging Drogon for the Unsullied are pretty much the only two scenes that I kind of enjoy about Daenerys. Is just the whole getting Drogon and flying away, which happens, and it's her like that moment of is something actually going to happen to Danny. Danny has pretty much plot armor up until season 8, so it's okay, folks. Um, but yeah, she's just is with Missandei pretty much, and then Drogon shows up. But Drogon, either in the editing process or just the simple fact of it happened because that's what happened. Uh, he kills an unsullied soldier. um, and also with Drogon showing up, we see Tyrion's first up and close experience with the dragons, which is just awesome because Tyrion's like the rest of us. He's not used to the dragons. Um, his reaction is like our reaction with the dragons, and then um, you can almost see when Drogon lands that it's just like, and he interacts with Danny again. That's like, Mom! When she pulls out the spear. It's like a teenage boy when you first pluck their first chin hair by accident. Just like screaming, Mom! But then he realizes that she did it for a good reason, and then he goes, Mommy? But he loves Jenny, and her child takes spears for her. So yeah, um, is that a good analogy? The spear, like for a spear being plucked out in a chin hair.
Yeah, I would have really liked the dragon have molten blood like in the books as well. That'd have been really cool. But they could only do so much. I do think this is a pretty decent episode compared to some of the ones we get this season. Yeah.
And yeah, Drogon is not happy for 2 seconds, but he gets Mama back. And we know now that Vla means fly, but that's another weird one, because Solvetis is another word for fly, which I guess means them. Solvetis, I guess, means free, or you're free or something, or fly, because what does Vla mean? Or unless free and Solvetis mean the same thing and it's just a different word for the same thing with and I don't know. And then we end obviously off with Danny and Danny's advisors just standing in the middle of the pit, and nothing happens to them after that. So, did you feel like that's kind of unrealistic that once Daenerys is gone, that everybody else is like, whoa, 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 I'm not
I guess I don't know. They were like maybe running from Drogon already, but not really. I do want to know how the hell they got out of there, but whatever.
Yeah, exactly right.
But as you see, they're kind of scattering out there right now, so they have a chance to get away, but they better run. Because they could kill all of them. You would think the Sons of the Harpy would want to, but you got a dragon in flight that could just breathe down fire on you at any time. So I can't necessarily say I would stay there. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I would say.
So, what do you rate this episode?
I rate it 7.5 Braun dynamic denture dentist appointments, because he's gonna have to have him at least one fake tooth in there, probably some caps, or he might have to go with a whole denture set. And go George Washington with the wooden teeth. And little known fact, George Washington did not have wooden teeth. That's a myth.
I did not know that. So, learn something new every day on Episode Club. Yeah, so I can't remember what I gave this episode, I guess, in terms of on drinks and nose, but I feel like, hold on, I was gonna sneeze. I'd probably give this episode 9. Danny and Drogon reunion. 9. Danny Drogon rides. Wait, no. Hold on. Why did I get this wrong? I had it, and I just keep messing it up in terms of saying it. 9. Danny and Drogon are back together moments. So like bonding moments. So Danny and Drogon bonding moments is what I give this episode. Even though this is coming from Sasa, I give it a Danny moment quote.
Yeah.
So what is coming up for you the remainder of this week?
Well, a few things. Jon Snow, the brooding hero, is coming up Thursday with Fura Hexa, and yourself at noon Eastern time. So check that out. I'll be on Secrets of the Citadel, I think around 6 or 6:30 p.m. Eastern, and then Episode Club right after. So doing a double header tomorrow. Check that out. The Maester Conspiracy, and we're doing a fun. Which episode are we doing tomorrow night?
We're doing episode 10, Mother's Mercy.
Ah, okay. Awesome. Look out for the Cylon Johns podcast to be dropping Wednesday as well. This might probably be dropping at the same day. Also Friday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern. And in the future, be on the lookout. We got the best butt stream coming up. We've got, what else? We got the Magor, Joffrey, Cersei, all that crap. some fun. Nooners of Thrones, April 15th. After the first episode of Game of Thrones, 2 p.m. Eastern. Come join us for Nooners of Thrones. Going to have different panelists every week for the most part, starting off with Bravosi broadcast and Sasa, I believe. And after that, we'll have people like Justin Thomas and Randomly Saint and A.U. Pack Mule and John St. Baptiste and Geek Chat One and other people I can't forget, can't remember, so don't yell at me in the comments, but just remind me. I have it all written down right here. Quickies of Ice and Fire coming out. Might have a few extra ones. We're gonna go back and forth too. Yeah, it's gonna be really fun. I got so much going on. I don't even know what to say anymore.
We're just being really busy, folks. That's just us. We're gonna be really busy, and then after season 6, after the season ends, we'll just be like, what do we do now? We'll just have to go back to regular scheduled programming, which is just so many streams, so many times. But yes, you can find me on my channel here. When this comes out, it'll be tonight. We're going to be talking season 5, episode 10, Mother's Mercy, from John's Mutiny to Cersei's Walk of Shame, and so much more. We'll talk about that episode with a few special guests who have appeared on Episode Club before, so we'll see that. And yeah, and we'll just keep pumping out podcast editions of Episode Club. They'll probably always be now double stacked at least, which, hey, more viewing pleasure to see us more often. Why not? And you can also find me on Johnny's channel and on the Cylon Johns. So with that, we will see you all in the next one. Bye, everyone.